Welcome, everyone, to the 2022 40 Fast and Future Leaders of Surgical Services. We are today talking to Cera Salamone, who is the Director of Perioperative Services at City of Hope Medical Center in Duarte, California. Welcome, Cera.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. So I'm sure, like everybody else in the country, some tension points are going to continue to be supply chain issues, the increase in regulations, and the demands for regulatory compliance, while decreasing in reimbursement, and the increasing demands to do more with less. Some things that we have done at City of Hope is we've created a really good partnership with our recruitment team, and they have spent a lot of time kind of interviewing us and interviewing our staff to kind of get to know our department and our department needs and what's unique to us, so that they have been able to create like targeted ads to be able to recruit better for us. And they've held some like virtual hiring events. And so we've been really successful in recruiting for our open positions, which has been really helpful. The other thing that we've done is we've been really successful in recruiting from in-house to partner with a local college that offers a Periop 101 program. And we've been leveraging our tuition reimbursement program for that. And then we let them do their clinicals within our operating room so that they have the opportunity to shadow and do some of their clinical experience there. And then once they're done with that program, then they transfer into a cohort, so to speak. And then obviously they're employees, but they're in a cohort, and then they do kind of an extended orientation in a Periop 101, but they're, internal transfers into the department. And so we've had a lot of really good success, um, you know, recruiting staff that way. And then just kind of engaging our existing staff in the interview process, creating standardized panel interviews, behavior-based interviews, so that we're creating a culture from the get-go where it's the family environment. And, we're beginning the retention like from the moment that we meet them. And so, it's really the staff are engaged in creating that family environment and making the new staff feel welcome. And, everybody's engaged in making everybody feel welcome and wanting people to stay. And that's been, really successful. So, and then the third thing is really staff scheduling and empowering staff to have control over the schedule. And so we, kind of explain the operational needs. This is how many staff we need. This is why we need them. And we give them the control over the schedule. And we've allowed kind of different shifts. So we have 8s, 10s, and 12s. And so we kind of have different start times and different shifts so that we can cover the department. And so it has really helped us recruit, and it's helped us to retain staff who, have maybe for family needs or whatever been considering looking elsewhere just because of, change in family needs and things. They've been able to stay on, and it's really helped us meet our needs, our operational needs, as well as our staff needs. So
Yeah, I've spoken with other leaders who have talked about experimenting with like people, work 3 12s or 4 12s, or it's like the shifts have gotten bigger, I guess, over the years, versus like back in the day. Like my mom was a geriatric nurse, and she said that the shifts it would be like 8. You would work like 11 to 7 or something like that.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
having that flexibility seems like that's something new that's kind of coming back.
yeah. It's definitely nice because some people want to work 8s if they have young kids, or maybe, older parents that they're caring for or something of that nature, so that, if they have home responsibilities, so they, want to have less hours at work. And other people want to work less days, so they like the longer shifts. And so it works really well to have kind of the mixed shifts, and it helps to decrease unnecessary overtime also. So it's definitely going to be a necessity for the peri-op directors, in particular. We definitely, as I mentioned, you have to do more with less. the increase in the regulations, the increase in cost to maintain compliance, the decrease in the reimbursement, the squeeze in the budgets. The Periop director really needs to be able to balance the clinical components with the business sense and has to ensure that the clinical quality is there and not compromising that while speaking the business sense, and to the finance folks, and being able to balance that and explain that with confidence and competence, and getting everybody to understand the clinical side as well as the business side. And then also back to the clinical folks, getting the staff to understand the business side also, because if they don't understand the whys behind the whats, they're not gonna be excited to work on Black Friday. For me, really letting go of patient care was hard. And definitely spending time with the finance team and understanding kind of the whole process and, the different payers and what that means. Because as a direct care nurse, you don't ever really pay attention to that or what that means and, how that impacts you. And so really kind of understanding that and how that impacts the business side was really helpful for me. It made a world of difference for me to really understand just the whole process of the payer side and the payer contracts, and when those negotiations came up, and because as a nurse you never have exposure to any of that. So just really, for any new leader, I would recommend figuring out who does your contracts when they come up for negotiation, and just really understanding when that happens. For organizations, the best thing is to really have some sort of succession planning formalized within them. But it would be really great, for any leader, if you have the opportunity to have any student shadow you, and just to give them the exposure to what leadership truly is. I am always eager to take students and have them shadow me and give them, exposure to really truly what leadership is, and the joys of what leadership is, and the blessings of how you can really multiply the goodness that you can do as a leader from what you can do as a direct care bedside nurse. So it seems so obvious to me, and I thought, well, it's obvious to me because I look at it every day, but it may not be obvious to the finance people, the business people who may be listening to this. And it's really kind of the upfront investment in like your service contracts for your equipment, the upfront investment in like your preventative maintenance for your equipment, the training for your staff and how to care for your equipment, and the investment of your staff for like ongoing training, teamwork, professional development, so that you have that longevity in your staff, and you don't have the staff turnover, and you have the people that are engaged in caring for your resources, not throwing things away, looking for better ways to do things, looking to care for the longevity of your equipment and those kinds of things, because that's really when you see, the quality of care for your patients, the quality of care for your equipment, the care for not throwing things away and not wasting things, because people then start to see your operating room and your budget as their budget, because they see, oh, we saved money as a department, and so we were able to get this new thing that we needed as a department. And so when they start to look at it as their home family, then they start to care for things like their own. And then not only your employee and your physician satisfaction goes up, but your patient satisfaction goes up, your patient safety goes up, your operational efficiency goes up, and all of those equal cost savings. And so when you equal cost savings, it's really, you're not losing money. So really fortunate. And I don't know if it just happens to be like in our demographic, but our retiring nurses are really excited to share their knowledge and work with our incoming nurses. And so they're our number one champions out there, like recruiting nurses from the floors and telling them how exciting the operating room is, because they want to retire. So they really want to share their knowledge. What we do is we offer them kind of like a step down in their schedule. So instead of working, like a 1.0 we take them down to a 0.9, 0.8, 0.7, so they can kind of step down their schedules. And then we use them more as like our preceptors, mentors. We bring them back to do like specialty in services and just kind of help build up and support our new staff that are onboarding. And so they really build a unique relationship with our new incoming staff. And they have just developed this unique dyad with kind of the younger generation, so to speak, coming into the operating room. And it's funny because one of my staff who's getting ready to retire here in the next year, he's celebrating his 35th anniversary this week with the organization. And so I actually asked him this question and I said, his name happens to be Paul. I said, Paul, like, how would you explain, how we're managing like the generational difference between like your generation and those who have just retired or getting ready to retire and the newer generation coming in? And he said, oh, I just think it's great. I love the new the new people coming into the organization, and I'm just so excited to share everything, and I just love everything that we're doing, and having the Periop program come in and all the people coming down from the floors. And so it was really kind of nice to hear all of the efforts that were going into it and everything that we've built in connection and in tandem with the staff, and how excited they are about it.
That's amazing. I think that it's great. It's really nice to hear that the relationship between outgoing people and incoming people is like, almost like a passing of the baton, which is what it should be. And it sounds like there's also there's a foundation from the organization to kind of support that. Thank you so much for joining us
Yeah,
today. It was
thank you.
awesome to meet you. You're
It was
welcome.
great to meet you.